Our first speaker is a known advocate for the environment and sustainable living. She is an entrepreneur and founded the Happy Earth Store, the first zero waste store in Cagayan de Oro and even in northern Mindanao. She also founded Zero Waste CDO, taking off from her experience at the Young Southeast Asian Leaders Initiative, or ISILI, in Bali, Indonesia. Last year, she was named as an Eco Ambassador, a distinct award given by the city government of Cagayan de Oro City for promoting sustainable lifestyle and for advocating a plastic-free city. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome by giving a warm virtual clap to talk about fostering sustainable lifestyle amidst this COVID-19 pandemic, Ms. Shariffa Nohad Emblawa-Patayon. Ms. Shari, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Attorney Fell, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so before I formally start my talk this afternoon, I would like to thank the Department of Trade and Industry Region 10 for inviting me once again to share my advocacy. So this is actually my second year to talk during the Consumer Welfare Month. And this time I am very excited because I will not just share about sustainable living itself, but it is very different because we are facing a pandemic, which is COVID-19. So with that, let me share my screen. Or I think I'll be the one to share my screen, right? Okay. All right. So as I've said already, this afternoon I will be talking about fostering sustainable lifestyle amidst COVID-19. I know that you are pretty familiar with the tagline, "There is no planet B." As simple as believing that, of course, the planet Earth is the only Earth that we have, and if wala na ang planet Earth, there's nothing else. There's no planet B. As simple as that. My talk this afternoon will be consist of three topics or three segments. First, I would like to talk about how the COVID-19 pandemic transformed our lifestyle. And second, I would like to introduce you to low impact or zero waste living. And thirdly, I would like to give tips on living sustainably amidst a pandemic. So if you are ready, this is my first slide for my first topic. Now, I want to look back on, I want everybody to look back on how the past 8 months have looked like, especially in your household. These are four photos that I believe are very familiar to you in the past 8 months. I think, I believe the pandemic has really been shoot up or has shoot up at the beginning of March, between March and April. So now that we're towards the end of October, now for the past 8 months, these are the four main, things that our life have revolved around. So the first one in the first left, this is composed of disposable masks, PPEs, disposable gloves, face shields. I know that this is something that is for the sake of our safety, especially in stopping the spread of the virus. It is very sad, actually, that sustainable living, the advocacy itself, actually has been toned down in the beginning of 2020 because of this pandemic, because the health and safety has been our top priority. And but right now, we would like to reawaken the spirits of people, so that eventually this pandemic will stop. I have high hopes. I know you also have high hopes that this pandemic will eventually stop. And once that time will come, when we go out again, we can still, enjoy the beautiful environment that we used to have. Second picture on your right top, ayuda. I know familiar nito. This was given as an assistance by our local governments and some private institutions, especially in the beginning of the pandemic. And these relief goods or ayuda are usually consist of instant foods that were packaged in single-use plastic. Usually, these are consist of instant noodles, canned goods. We have instant drinks. We have crackers, snacks, sometimes toiletries. We have rice. But I understand that this is something me myself actually have received some relief goods, and I'm thankful for our local government. But it is within us on how we will be able to manage our waste. I know that this is something that the community will really appreciate assistance such as this, but it's up to us on how we take care of our waste after we consume all of this assistance. The third one, which is in the left bottom of the slide, food deliveries. This became very popular, especially now that everybody is encouraged to stay at home. Um, Sometimes we are thinking about convenience, maybe, or we are craving for some food, but you cannot go to that restaurant. So, food deliveries, there are applications or apps. A lot of people also have switched into food business, small food business that was convenient enough to give delivery services. So we know that all of these food choices are delivered to us and packaged in single-use packaging. So, isa yan sa parang familiar tayo na naging rampant during the pandemic. And fourthly, on the right bottom, cleaning products. It is also our choice to use cleaning products that are all natural, that will not leach bad chemicals into our waterways, into our oceans, and will not harm our health. But I know this is something that is also very needed in this time for us to combat the spread of COVID-19. Moving on, if we have unmindful choices, of course, this will result to first, if you are very um, if you're very into food deliveries nowadays because of first convenience, eventually the food packaging waste that you will have will soon pile up. So this is a matter of debate of your convenience versus the environment. Second, improper medical waste disposal. Now we know that surgical or disposable surgical face masks are considered medical waste once you're done using it, right? Now, in my personal experience during the pandemic, I um, when I walk simply as outside in our neighborhood, I see surgical face masks that are just thrown in the sidewalks. Sometimes I see it in nasa kanal, nasa waterways. Sometimes, it's everywhere. It's in someone's backyard. So actually, there are already studies, our divers have seen it, that there is actually more disposable mass in the ocean than jellyfish already. So, um, to give you a little background of myself as well, um, I am a mom of three. I have recently given birth to my third child. I've given birth last October 19th, so I am still 10 days postpartum. So I still want my kids, my three beautiful kids, to still see the beauty of the planet when all of this chaotic pandemic will be over. Thirdly, landfills are filled rapidly nowadays. No, so the question here also is: are these waste that are being sent to the landfill even segregated? So, do you know that food waste, if you're not segregating your waste, especially in your household, and if imimix natin yung food waste sa ating garbage bin, and once that is collected by our garbage collectors and dumped in the landfill, it will be very dangerous if it will release methane gas. Now, another one: what kept you busy during the quarantine period? Now, this is something na parang this is one of the fun stuff of of the quarantine. We always, as Filipinos, we want to entertain ourselves, we want to keep ourselves busy despite being just in the four quarters of our room. Online selling, online shopping has been very rampant. This has been very popular for the last years, but it became even more popular during this quarantine period. Meron ng isang app, you can see it, but I will not mention the name of the app, but I personally have it in my mobile phone. And sometimes, or most of the time, it gives you a notification. And sometimes I get tempted to open the app. But I try to compose myself. And once I go in the app, I need to assess, do I need to purchase? Do I have the money to purchase this stuff? And you know what what will be the impact of my purchase? And we all know that online purchases comes in single use packaging, of course, through the couriers of this partner couriers of this company. Second, maybe the quarantine period have kept you busy with switching into food businesses. I know that one of the top priorities during these trying times is to generate income for survival, because most of us have been affected financially or economically. Some of us might have lost our job, lost our businesses. So our main goal here, one of the top priorities, is to generate income. But we have to be mindful, especially if we have switched into food business. What is my impact in the environment? How do I have the capacity to collect my garbage back, or the food packaging back? Or how can I teach my consumers? How can I, of course, most of the online food businesses nowadays have their own Facebook pages, social media accounts. One of the things that we can do actually is to educate our consumers, teach them how to take care of their waste, because it's one of the responsibilities that you have as a business owner, and not as a business owner. Thirdly, have you become a plantita, or have you become a plantito? This is something very nice. This is very therapeutic, very relaxing. But are you mindful enough where your plants have came from? Are they endangered? Are they poached? Do you really need to buy them? Are you impulsive? Are you very impulsive in collecting this specific species of a plant? Have you tried to consider planting fruits and vegetables instead, so that you have something to bring in your table to eat? Consider planting talong, sitaw, kalabasa, ampalaya, okra, all of those vegetables that are very easy to grow in our homes. If you don't have the space, container or urban gardening, can guide you on this process. Now, giving you the background of my personal experience during the pandemic, my personal observation. Here comes my second part of my talk this afternoon, and that is introducing you to the zero waste living, or the low impact living. Now, I know that this topic, or saying zero waste, the term itself might feel, or might sound intimidating to some of you, because if you search in social media, um, the search engine might show you fancy glass jars, fancy vegetarian or vegan recipes, or dishes. You might have the thinking na ang zero waste para sa maharlika, ang zero waste para lang sa mga fortunate, ang zero waste para lang sa mga nakakaangat sa buhay. But no, this lifestyle is actually very suited, especially for the Filipino setup. Why? Because our grandparents actually lived like this, especially during the time na hindi pa nai-introduce ang plastic sa kanila. And looking at how wealthy our resources in the Philippines is, how diverse our community is, and how artistic our local entrepreneurs is in creating local products. Zero waste or circular economy is very, very achievable in our setup here in the Philippines. Now, to give you a bigger a bigger um, picture on how much waste we are generating worldwide. According to the world counts, the world dumps a massive 2.12 billion tons of waste every year. So imagine for the next coming years, parang mas lalaki pa yung ma-occupy na space ng garbage natin kesa or compared sa land area of the earth as a whole. So this is something very alarming, especially um, if you research more about the environmental impacts of this waste that is not being properly managed by communities or by nations. Some disturbing facts about plastic. 50% of plastics are actually used only once. But now, I don't want you to hit plastic 100% kasi may plastic na useful, may plastic na reusable. What we want to avoid here are single-use plastics. As I've mentioned before, if you search in the internet about zero waste or sustainable living, you might see fancy glass jars. But you can go to your kitchen right now, mamaya pagkatapos ng webinar natin. There are actually hidden treasures in your kitchen. That's how I started actually. I made an audit in my kitchen. What can I still reuse, so that I don't need to buy new containers, buy new utensils that are very trending right now. So yeah, reuse, and I will talk about this topic a little further in the next slide. Next, plastic is expensive to manufacture. And third is most plastic items take 450 years to biodegrade. So imagine, wala na tayo sa mundong ito. We will leave this physical world, but our plastic waste will remain. Baka mahuhukay pa yan or makikita pa ng mga kaapu-apuhan natin in the future. How plastic waste impacts oceans. Now, oceans is one of the, widely damaged aspect when it comes to plastic waste. You know that 8 tons of plastic waste are dumped in the sea. All these critically affect marine life forms, and 300,000 tons of waste float on ocean's surface. Now, what do we do? Something has to change to protect the nature, and that is through the low impact and zero waste revolution. But how can we do that? In the zero waste lifestyle or sustainable living, we follow or we are guided by the 5 R's. Now, in schools, we are taught about 3 R's, diba? We have reduce, reuse, and recycle. Kindergarten pa lang ako, alam ko na to, and I know you also. But we have discovered that we have to incorporate 2 other R's in our 5 R's, and that's refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. Now, what is refuse? What do we do if we refuse? We have to learn how to say no to single-use plastic, say no to items that will immediately go to landfill and stay there permanently. Like what? Single-use plastics such as plastic bags, bottles, cups, utensils, freebies. Freebies from party favors, hotel toiletries, disposable item, and junk mail. Now, yung mga freebies sa hotel, if hindi naman natin kailangan di ba iuwi, let's leave it there and leave it for someone who might need it. A guest that did not bring toiletries, and as simple as going in the mall, maybe, di ba, maraming mga agents or sales agents that are handing out brochures or leaflets of their companies, especially real estate and fast food chains, restaurants. Learn to say no to the brochures if you do not need them or if you do not intend to read them, because I am pretty sure the first garbage bin that you will see after receiving that brochure, you will dump your brochure in there. So what's the essence, or what's the sense of getting the brochure, diba? Reduce. Purchase repairable items over disposable ones. So in purchasing, you always have to balance, you always have to evaluate. Is this something that I can use for a long period of time? Or this is something na low quality, so kung masisira, dapat itapon ko kaagad. Next, try to avoid unnecessary purchases. Again, be mindful. Always evaluate. Do I need this? Will I be able to use it for a long time? Will it benefit me? And of course, practicality. Do I have the means to buy this item? Third, decrease exposure to tempting advertising messages. So again, being mindful, nasa sa atin na yan if kakagat tayo on very beautiful, fancy advertising messages. Next is reuse. Practice borrowing and sharing items. I know this is something um, that might be a concern, especially in borrowing or lending items. Okay lang if through between our family members. But if you notice, in the beginning of the pandemic, actually, one of the things that became very popular is bartering, di ba? Especially here in Cagayan de Oro, I think nationwide, everybody practiced this. And this is something that was not new to the Filipino setup because our people from before used to barter their stuff to you know to get along with their needs every day. Next is repair instead of replace. So if you have broken appliances or furnitures or gadgets that are still repairable, instead of replacing them immediately or disposing them, try to mend it, try to repair it. Third is rethink the items that you already have. So again, you audit the things that you have. It's zero waste or low impact living actually leads you to minimalism. 'Di ba, napaka-relaxing, it gives you a peace of mind if you live in an environment with lesser things to maintain in cleaning, in decluttering. So this is something that is very good in our well-being. Fourth one is recycle. So learn how to recycle plastic, paper, aluminum, and tin. So I know dito sa atin sa Pilipinas may mga naglalako, mga nangangalakal. So that is very convenient. But if you have an access to a junk shop, have your recyclables turned over to them. May pera sa basura. Lastly is rot. This is composting. You throw food waste in a worm bin and let worms turn your waste into high quality fertilizer. So again, if there are things that you cannot avoid in buying because you need them, just make sure you be mindful. And um, once their life ends, if it served you already, make sure you learn how to segregate your waste. So how can you start a zero waste lifestyle? Paano nga ba talaga sisimulan? How is it easy? Is it hard? Let's see. First, you can actually advocate eco-friendly alternatives, but I want to give you a tip. Please do not be intimidated by social media about eco-friendly alternatives. If you think that right now, what listening to me right now, maybe if you're convinced in switching into eco-friendly alternatives, but you have just recently bought your toothbrush in the supermarket yesterday and you can still use it, please, huwag niyo pong itapon. Do not throw the toothbrush that you just recently bought just because it is plastic and will have a very negative impact to the environment. Use it until the end of its life, until it still serves you. That will be the time na you can switch into a more eco-friendly alternative. If you have a water bottle already, maybe nakuha natin sa isang raffle or freebie natin sa isang membership from a company, please use it. You don't need to buy new tumblers or new water bottles just to look like you have, nakakasabay tayo sa uso. Next, you can use locally made shampoo bars. There are products already like personal hygiene products that are converted into an eco-friendly alternatives. So this is one step that you can actually do to start living a sustainable lifestyle. Second, do your groceries low to zero waste. Now, from introduction of Attorney Fell a while ago, I am the founder of Happy Earth Store. This is a social enterprise that advocates zero waste living, sustainable lifestyle, and plastic-free groceries. So this is an avenue for Cagayanons, for people from Northern Mindanao to practice para makita talaga natin na this is something that is actually achievable. Zero waste is achievable. This what we have in store are basic commodities such as cooking oils, condiments, pastas, grains, a wide variety of products that you can freely get using your own containers. So we encourage our customers to bring their own containers, as long as, of course, it is clean, it is sanitized, and it is dry. Okay. Not just in the Happy Earth, but of course, my family is not a fully vegetarian or vegan yet. We still consume meat. We eat fish, beef, and chicken. So I do my groceries in the supermarket for my meat and vegetables, and in the public market. So I bring my own reusable containers. Now, during the pandemic, actually, there was a popular question that was thrown in one of the environmentalists in a webinar. Is it safe ba daw to use our own containers during this time na there is a virus circulating in the community? For my opinion, in my opinion, actually, this is the safest you can do, because you know who handled your own containers. From the moment that you left your house, you're the only one who handled that. And when you go to the store, you fill your containers on your own. And of course, checking out, going home, you're, kampante tayo kung sino ang nakahandle. Not unlike not being mindful of our choices when it comes to groceries. You don't know how many people have handled that, from manufacturing, from deliveries, from displaying in the shelves, from customers who changed their mind na, okay, I might need, I will get this toothpaste, but you realize, or that customer realized na, wait lang, may toothpaste pa pala kami, so I will return it in the shelf. Or wait lang, wala sa budget pala, wala pala siya sa listahan ng groceries ko, so I will put it back. And you don't have any idea how many people have done that on that day. And then you're the last one who took it, who held it and put it in your cart and checked out and brought to your home. So this is the Happy Earth Store. We are located at Lane 101. This is in Masterson Avenue in the uptown of Cagayan de Oro, in the back of the Hall of Justice. Now, another way of starting your sustainable living, is to be aware of your own impact. So again, this is about being mindful of the things that you choose, especially us being consumers. Meron bang mga alternatives that are healthier? Are there alternatives? Because in the zero waste lifestyle, because we are encouraging people to switch to a healthier version of of preparing their meals, you get to choose eating more vegetables, eating more foods, and you get to bond with your family more because you're encouraged to cook your own meals. So especially if you're a mom, if you're a dad, this is the perfect time to bond with your family, especially that we are in quarantine, we are under a pandemic. Now, if you have a new baby during this pandemic, like myself, again, I am 10 days postpartum. My third baby is 10 days old. Um, Practice breastfeeding and cloth diapering. Now, I did this to my second born way back in 2016, but this time, breastfeeding and cloth diapering during the pandemic really is something magical for me. Mas na-appreciate ko siya. Bakit? Kasi when on during my second born, I breastfed him for 2 years. But um, I was not able to really give attention to it because I was a full-time employee that time, and I was trying to start Happy Earth Store, trying to live the advocacy. But right now that everybody is facing a big economic challenge because of the impact of the pandemic, some people losing their jobs, our family being affected as well. Um, the convenience of having your own milk to feed your child. You don't need to buy formula milk. You don't need to buy disposable diapers. And not just because of the economical side of it, but you're giving your best nutrition to your child, and you are taking care of your baby's delicate skin through lampins or through cloth diapers. And this is something that I really appreciated during this time of the COVID-19 pandemic, and I would like to share it to more moms out there, because alam naman natin siguro ngayon na I think tumaas ang pregnancy rate sa not just in the Philippines but worldwide because of us being confined in our homes for the past months. Now, I think this is my next slide. This is the line that I would like to give. Convenience at the expense of the environment is not convenience at all. Again, thank you so much to the Department of Trade and Industry, Region 10, for inviting me to share with you this advocacy. And I hope to see more of you. And I hope that you've learned from my talk this afternoon.